agreed a temporary extension covering some trade in and out of Northern Ireland. The weather, showers dying out in most places tonight, staying cloudy in the east and chilly in places with a low of 7.
LBC Travel, I'm Dave Goff. The M25 anti-clockwise stays closed between junction 27 for the M11 and junction 26 for Waltham Abbey. It's for emergency repairs after a lorry caught fire early this morning, so there are still severe delays. That means there are also long delays on the diversion route via the M11, the North Circular Road and the A10. There were queues on the M25 clockwise after an accident earlier on between junction 13 for Staines and junction 14 for Heathrow. There are also queues on the M11 northbound after an accident earlier at junction 5 for Loughton. And there are delays in Neasden on the North Circular Road northbound. The exit to the road at the Neasden interchange is closed. That's because of a burst water main.
This is LBC.
When booking a trip, you might be thinking to yourself, what else could possibly go wrong? Like an invasion of giant kleptomaniac lizards who came from the bottom of the ocean to steal your suitcases and hinder your trip? I mean, that probably won't happen, but if your plans have to change, it doesn't matter, because Hotels.com has flexible booking options. Hotels.com, because just in case. Flexible booking options on selected properties. See terms and conditions on Hotels.com.
This is LBC.
With your help, the Mayor of London and TfL have made progress in cleaning up our air. But despite improvements, air pollution remains the biggest environmental risk to the health of Londoners, and road vehicles are the single biggest contributor. That's why, from the 25th of October, the ultra-low emission zone is expanding up to, but not including, the North and South Circular Roads. Together, we're cleaning up the air for all Londoners. Be part of the solution. Search TfL Air Quality. LBC supports this message.
If you want to make the most of smart working, then here's a desk that'll work for you. From My Smart Desk. It adjusts to sitting or standing positions at the touch of a button. And now includes built-in USB-C and wireless smartphone charge points. Pre-order with £100 off for just £349, including free delivery from mysmartdesk.co.uk. And make smart working work for you.
Has your business lost at least £40,000 as a result of COVID restrictions? Do you have business interruption insurance? If the answer is yes, COVID claims could help you reclaim financial losses, even if your initial claim was refused, you've been made a low offer, or you just don't know where to start, all on a no-win, no-fee basis. Just text ADVICE to 60777 for help from COVID claims, regulated by the FCA. Text ADVICE to 60777.
If you're looking for authentic mouth-watering Indian cuisine, majestic ambience from a bygone era, and a magical dining experience that will give you a taste of Indian royalty, Madhu's Mayfair is the place to be. Treat your family and business associates to authentic Punjabi recipes, handed down through generations, and innovative dishes, specially prepared on the Rabata Grill. Visit our new location at the Dilly, Piccadilly, now open. Royal Indian cuisine for the Maharaja in you. Bookings at mayfair@mothers.co.uk.
Would your cat like peace of mind from Pets in a Pickle Pet Insurance? That's a yes from her. Visit petsinnapickle.co.uk.
We can all forget from time to time. What was her name again? Where did I put my glasses? But if your memory problems mean you've been to see a doctor, if you feel you might be at risk of developing Alzheimer's disease, or if you already have a diagnosis, then you could play a key part in our development of new medications not yet available on the NHS. The Imperial Memory Unit is an NHS research unit conducting clinical trials in cognitive impairment. Search Imperial Memory Unit today to find out more, because your help can help so many.
Message hello or get chatting on a video call. Start the conversation your way at helloyoudating.com.
Tom Swarbrick on LBC.
With Sage, pay your people accurately, quickly and on time.
Listen, I'm the same as you. Some of this is just exhausting now. If it could all go away, if the restrictions could all be lifted at once, and if everything could get back to normal tomorrow or July 19th or July 20th, then honestly, of course I would want that to happen. Everyone just wants to go back to normal. We don't want any more chats about COVID, thinking about COVID, having to deal with the test and trace thing pinging off so that your kids have to come home from school again. Just let's get back to normal. So I'm completely with you on that. But depressingly, as I mentioned to Ben a bit earlier, we are only just beginning. the journey getting out of this, and it's got a lot of difficulties in its way, I'm afraid. We brought you the news about 20 or so minutes ago that the interim advice from the JCVI is that there are vulnerable people who are going to be offered booster jabs, a third jab, around September time. That is to make up for any loss of immunity that occurs over time, to prepare people for what Chris Whitty has described as a quite difficult winter. One of the other ways in which life is not going to go back to normal even after July the 19th, it strikes me, is that the government are going to tell businesses to decide on whether they introduced COVID certificates. Now, I think actually that's not a bad point from which the government should start. The government probably don't want to make a decision about whether to introduce these things, make them mandatory or not. They'll leave it up to businesses to decide. And I think that's actually relatively reasonable, isn't it? You don't want the government deciding. We've had enough of government in our lives, thank you very much. The businesses will decide for themselves. So if you run venues, if you have proper bricks and mortar premises, what do you want to do? Do you want to make sure that everyone comes in there has tested negative? How are you going to police that? It sounds in practical terms incredibly difficult to make happen. Have we got enough tests in the country to make it happen if enough businesses, premises, venues want to use the system of COVID certificates? And I've kept banging on about this, and it's met with the usual kind of opprobrium online, but I've kept on saying since January that COVID certificates, that is negative test, double jab, or the presence of antibodies, is going to be needed. That it is going to happen. And it's not a conspiracy theory that it is going to happen. It's not a desire for it to happen. It's going to be practical for some businesses in order that they can, one, guarantee safety, or as much safety as possible for their consumers, and two, prepare ahead of winter. So, for example, if you were to want to go on a cruise at MSC Cruises, the last time I'll say their name, free advertising, but they've changed their policy to mean that you will have to have 2 jabs in order to be able to go on that cruise. Now that to me just seems sensible. I mean, it's very difficult for those of you who have either not been offered 2 jabs or who refuse it or medically aren't able to have it. That is incredibly difficult. But if they want to guarantee that their cruise ship is not going to have a COVID outbreak so bad that people are getting seriously ill while they're busting around the Mediterranean, then I think it's going to be necessary. The Premier League, imagine going to a football match in the future and having to have, as well as, patted down before you go through the turnstiles, or flash your ticket under the barcode thing, you need to show that you've taken a negative test in the last 2 days or whatever. That is a big change from how we used to live our lives. But I can see why the Premier League would want to do it. 0345 6060 973. Sandra's in Ealing on this. Sandra.
Well, I'd like to know what is the difference between them doing it in the future and them doing it now, because it's been okay so far for all the fans to come in. It's been okay for Ascot to go ahead. Why is it okay when it's boosting the economy? But yet, Joe Cox down the road, you keep the people waiting to get married, and they've had to put off different family events. Why is it not one
Well, do you know, Sandra, this is a big bugbear. I've mentioned it a few times, but you absolutely hit on it perfectly, which is the difference between those two things. The reason why Ascot can happen, that people can't go to a funeral on the 13th, the reason why that's different, Helen, is Ascot and Wembley are asking people to test negative before they come in, whereas you're not at the funeral.
I mean, you say that they're asking people, but people can take tests to go to funerals. Why? They can still take their tests. People can still take tests if they want. Tests are available for everyone. They are available now. So, people can take their own personal tests.
Then I guess, the argument back to that, of course, from lots of people is, why should we, to go to a funeral, have to comply with a medical standard set by whom? Certainly not the government. The government have decided they're not going to make it mandatory. Very, very hard to police out. I mean, who does that? The vicar? And I don't know who at the Krem is going to make sure that everyone's tested negative there. But Sandra, I completely take your point. Either you have this, or you absolutely make sure that you don't have this, because otherwise people are going to wonder why they get more freedom and these people don't, which is exactly the system we've got at the moment. Sandra, thank you for your call. Richard's in Stevenage. Hi, Richard.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, well, sir. Thoughts?
Right, well, I was went to the England game last night, Tom.
You did not. Did you?
I did.
Oh,
Yeah.
you lucky so-and-so.
You don't know how much we paid for our tickets, believe me.
It was worth it. Come on. It's
So there was some and you had to take your passports, you had to show your COVID passport thing about whether you were double jabbed. And no one has to say anything, Tom.
Really?
Honest, no one has to say anything. Put your tickets in there, lads, that's it. Couldn't believe it. No one was getting asked to show anything.
Wow.
I promise you.
And what were the arrangements that you had to make for yourself in order to get in?
You
Just to think together.
had to also have to register, and then you had to show put your passport number in, take your passport with you, and then download I've got the NHS app, but you have to download a separate one to show what your jabs were if you double jabbed. So you took that open on your lap when you went in, expecting people to say and see you. No one has to say anything.
Do you know, I can't help but think this is a kind of typically British response, actually. The people behind the desks and in the suits say, we are going to make this happen, we want this happen, there's very strict criteria, you have to do this, that and the other. And the poor person who's actually got to do it, got to check it, just goes, nah,
Yeah.
you go, forget it, you'll be all right.
But you actually got, Tom, you had a half-hour window when you had to go to the ground. So it was all split up, so not everyone turned up at the last minute as per normal Premier League games, when everyone falls out the pub. But it was, you had a specific time that you had to turn up. We were expecting people to go, all right, show me this, show me this, show me this. Nothing at all. And you can imagine the pandemonium inside.
Well, I saw it. I'm so jealous of you, Richard, I can barely speak to you, I have to say. But I saw it inside, you see the pictures. Everyone's over everyone. Everyone is jumping around, dancing on each other, the whole thing goes crazy.
I was guilty as everybody else, Tom. I've been double jabbed, and it was just, everything goes out the window. England and Germany, couple of beers, goes out the window, and like I said, it's people all over everybody.
See, I have to say, guilty as charged, but I loved it. I just thought, thank God, it looks like normal, it feels like normal. It's just not normal to beat Germany in the tournament. But
Exactly that. I think a lot of people's inhibitions dissipated until they declared there was 45,000 people at the football game for the first time in a year and a half.
did you mind having to do it? It did get checked, but did you mind having to go through all that rigmarole?
Absolutely not, no.
Would you do it again somewhere else? Would you do it? I don't know if you support more than just England, Richard, but if you went to a Premier League ground, would you do it again?
I support Everton, and that's what I'm for, Tom. We do it. If you make it into the game, yeah.
So I think, Richard, thank you so much. I'm going to leave it there because I'm going to ask you too much about football yesterday. I think a lot of people, I asked me to go to the football match. You can go and watch Preston away at Fulham or QPR, any game you can get to or whatever, and you've got to take a COVID test to get in. I don't mind. As long as we can go in and there's no pretense of having to social distance anywhere in the ground anyway, because you know that people are testing negative, I think fine. I don't understand the resolute opposition to COVID certificates, and if you are resolutely opposed to it, you must be livid that the government is allowing businesses to be able to do it, and businesses already are. Look at the cruise lines, look at that, potentially if they decide to do it, and maybe some nightclubs will too. 0345 6060 973 84850 to text. You can tweet it to LBC. The whole thing, of course, completely falls down if no one bothers to check. Tom Swanbrick here at 6:32. News headlines now. Tim Humphrey.
Health inequality across England is being described as catastrophic on communities during the pandemic. A review by Sir Michael Marmot is partly blaming funding cuts with poorer areas hit hardest. Gavin Williamson has told MPs he wants to end regular COVID-19 testing for children at the earliest and most realistic possible stage. He also wants to rule out bubbles and self-vaccinating for pupils when they return after the summer holidays. Pennsylvania's highest court has overturned comedian Bill Cosby's sex assault conviction. He'll be released from prison after serving more than 2 years. And the weather showers dying out in most places tonight, staying cloudy in the east and chilly in places with a low of 7.
LBC, Nick Ferrari at breakfast. Weekday mornings from 7. Business, Energy and Clean Growth Minister Andrew Trillian grieving relatives and parents who are forced to take time off work to look after children for school. Watch as a businessman or woman flies in and avoids some of the quarantine regulations, and your government
Find the credit card you've been looking for. Quick check, motivate your score. See if it's a yes. No need to guess with an Ocean credit card.
With a credit limit up to £1,500. Check if you're eligible for an Ocean credit card. It only takes a minute. Intelligent Lending Limited is a credit broker. Capital One, the exclusive lender. Representative 39.9% APR variable. No annual fee. Get a credit limit of up to £1,500. Visit ocean.co.uk.
This year we learned technology can replace many things, but we also learned there is no substitute for a heartbeat. When you fly again, fly for what truly matters. We can never replace together. Fly care then, Royal Dutch Airlines, from London Heathrow and London City Airport.
Message hello or get chatting on a video call. Start the conversation your way at helloyoudating.com.
If it's a clear instruction from government, there's no issue with our clients. Venues that have the financial backup to put restrictions in place and ask for this info will be constantly competing with venues that need bums on seats just to survive. It will be a constant debate that we don't need. One clear expectation for all event guests, please, says this text. If you do work in events, what would be easiest for you? Presumably it's just the government saying, right, on you go, you decide for yourself, which seems to be the return. 0345 6060 973. We'll check calls in just a moment. But not before we hear today's COVID report with RBC's Jack Foster. Thank you, Tom. Good evening. First, solid links between huge crowds gathered for Euro 2020 and events and COVID cases have begun to emerge in statistics from Scotland today. Released later on today says almost 1,300 people who travelled down to London for a number of Euro 2020 events have tested positive for coronavirus since. It's almost 400 around Wembley for the Scotland-England match on the 18th of June. Whilst the word infectious, Professor of Public Health at University of Edinburgh, Linda Ward, says outdoor mixing will be the wait list for the surge.
People have been on buses, on trains going to London. There's obviously mixing indoors associated with the tournament in multiple different forms, and that will be the main factors.
School pupils in England will no longer have to self-isolate in the event that a class member tests positive for COVID-19 after July the 19th. That's as organised absences last week. Education Secretary Gavin Williamson told MPs earlier that he hopes to end the classroom bubble system when rules are relaxed across England.
I do not think it is acceptable that children should face greater restrictions over and above those of wider society, especially since they have given up so much to keep older generations safe over the last 18 months.
He says schools will be told when a final decision is made. Now, holidaymakers are facing confusion after Malta was added to the UK's green travel list, despite all the letters of people who are fully vaccinated against COVID. It was revealed that the country wouldn't be accepting the NHS app as proof of the jabs. Instead, they want a printed doctor's note. By the Times of Malta now reports that ministers are hoping their digital system will be working by tomorrow. Mark Holland is due to fly out then. He says the changes are frustrating.
I'm still holding out hope. I'm still picking up my sun lotion. I'm so I'm keeping an eye out on Twitter and fingers crossed.
And the Labour leader has told the Prime Minister that it seems it's one rule for him and his colleagues and another for British people. So Keir Starmer criticised Boris Johnson at PMQs earlier for his response to photos of his ex-health secretary breaking social distancing rules. Boris Johnson had initially said that it was case closed before Matt Hancock resigned a day later.
The Prime Minister must have been the only person in the country who looked at that photo on Friday morning and thought the health secretary shouldn't be sacked immediately.
I read the story probably you and everybody else on Friday. We had a new health secretary in place by Saturday.
And that's all the latest from LBC's COVID desk. For now, back to you, Tom. Jack, very much indeed. Here's June. Tom, COVID passports will only be okay when everyone has had the opportunity to be vaccinated. Otherwise, it is extremely unfair. I would agree with that only if you made it about vaccination. But of course, the COVID certificates also mean you can have an a negative test or the presence of antibodies tested for. So you can refuse the vaccine and still be part of this system. I would agree, though, it's very difficult for those people who would like to be vaccinated but for medical reasons currently cannot. David's in Tooting. You're on the radio, David. Hi.
Hello.
Your thoughts? You went to the England game last night.
I did. I also went to last night. Look, before I start to justify what I did, I'm just sort of explaining how it can go around the other way. I went to one of the group stage games as well, and I did my test for that. I was up through, and when I went through and put the test result in, it just knew what the result is, was it negative. And Monday I was running around at work very, very busy, knew I needed to test a couple more. I got up the next day to try and get over to the football. I thought, do I even need to do this test? But I just jumped on the website, went through, and it was negative, and my test result came through as negative, and I used to run my test result.
Well, that's a farce, isn't it? And that is just a farce.
Yeah. So I sort of, I'm not really going to justify it by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm just telling you how it works. I never ever took a test yesterday, but I showed text message from the AHS that said
Do you know, David, this is going to drive people mad, this, for a number of reasons. One, it can blows a coach and horses to this idea of these test events, these world-beating test events. As we keep being told, if you can just rock up, not test, then decide for yourself what any potential result could be. But you think about all those people whose freedoms are limited, who can't go to the sports day, or can't go to the but you would be allowed into Wembley because you've been tested and you haven't been, and you can get around it. Why can't they go into Wembley because they were outside with as many people as they like?
I completely agree. Yeah, I completely agree. But it's the hoop they asked me to jump through, so I jumped through it for them. But you know, it's easy to do.
You didn't jump through it. You didn't even put a foot through it. You just chucked the hoop away.
That's true. Sorry, you're completely right. But yeah, as I said, look, I'm not justifying it. I did it properly for the previous one, and it did come back all negative and everything like that. Don't feel ill. Never felt ill. So. But yeah, I thought you'd be interested to know that.
I am really interested now.
You don't even need to actually really even do it.
I just think, how on earth can they use any data from this, from these so-called test events? How on earth can they take from any of this whether or not it is quote-unquote safe? Do you? I mean, does part of you worry that these Wembley events are going to be case spreaders?
I mean, yeah, I was just listening to those. I mean, I'm not worried about it personally, but that is my personal opinion. But you know, you've got the numbers coming out of the Scotland report today and stuff like that. I think there'll be a lot of people pointing at events like England games and the Euros for the numbers going up. But I think just in general, I mean, people getting the tube from the game last night. Even from when I went 10 days ago, less people wearing masks, less people caring. Especially afterwards, more people jubilant and probably had a tipple afterwards, 2 hours a day, definitely less caring. So I think it's, we're getting towards the end of the restrictions now. You know, it's sticking on the passports. You know, if they're going to ask for tests and things like that, people are going to just, well, they're either going to get that or do what I did, or they'll do what they need to do to go to what they want to do.
Let me put this to you, David, and it's a fair point, and you've acknowledged it, but I'll put it to you anyway. Text here. Tom, your caller David has put decent people in danger.
Yeah, that's a fair comment.
When you got the future king there, David, he was at Wembley.
Yeah. But I started this call by saying I don't justify what I did. I was just sort of informing you of how it works. You know.
I get it. Listen, I get it. You saw what you had to do. You didn't do it in time. You're not going to miss the football, so you didn't bother to do it, and you just cheated your way through. I understand that you shouldn't have done it, but you know you shouldn't have done it, but you did it, so it's over with. The idea, though, that we've been attempting these world-beating, test events to see whether we could get through by having people test negative and then allow them to do what they were doing at Wembley, the whole premise of it is based on people actually looking at the tests people have taken, if they have taken them, and if they haven't, they don't get anywhere near the football ground. And I just, again, if you're listening to that thinking, thinking, well, I haven't, seen my family for ages, or I haven't been around to a friend's house because I was told there were too many numbers there, or I haven't, had a big gathering, and I haven't done this because the rules say that I can't, and the rules to go to Wembley meant that those people had to be negative tested. Otherwise, why have any restrictions for anybody? Otherwise, why do any of the restrictions matter at all if you can literally have 40,000 people at Wembley who haven't been tested, or at least they haven't had their test checked? What's the point of any of the restrictions anymore if that's going on? And I have to say, I would largely agree with you. 03456060973. We'll get some more details on the breaking news around Bill Cosby in just a few moments. Tom Swarbrick here, 6:45. News headlines again. Tim Humphrey.
There's a plan to give a third dose of coronavirus vaccine to millions of people in England who are most vulnerable to COVID-19. Education Secretary Gavin Williamson has told MPs he expects school bubbles to be removed as part of the roadmap for lifting COVID restrictions. A court has overturned Bill Cosby's sex assault conviction, paving the way for his release. And the weather showers dying out in most places tonight, staying cloudy in the east, and it will be chilly with a low of 7.
LBC Travel, I'm Dave Goff. The M25 anti-clockwise remains closed between junction 27 for the M11 and junction 26 for Waltham Abbey. It's for emergency repairs after a lorry caught fire early this morning, so there are severe delays. It means there are also delays on the diversion, which is via the M11, the North Circular Road and the A10. It's very slow on the M4 eastbound. There's a lane closed because of an accident between junction 4 for Heathrow and junction 3 for Hayes. There are delays on the North Circular Road and northbound. The exit slip road at the eastern interchange is closed because of a burst water main, so they're accused from Hanger Lane. And it's very slow in Homerton on Wick Road westbound. There's a lane blocked because a van has broken down at Kenworthy Road.
Coming up at 7 on LBC, Ian Dale. On the news hour, the PM accuses Keir Starmer of living in a Westminster bubble. The EU sausage wars are over, and the weather in Canada, well, it's still very hot. Ian Dale on LBC.
Oh no, it's your best friend's birthday tomorrow, and you've only just remembered. If you don't get a gift sorted ASAP, there's a good chance they might downgrade you to friend, or even acquaintance. Relax. Zing Flowers will deliver the perfect present to keep you in their good books fast. Order before 7 p.m. and a beautiful bouquet and personalised message will arrive the very next day. Zingflowers.com. Amazing every time. Excludes Sunday delivery.
This is LBC.
This year we learned technology can replace many things, but we also learned there is no substitute for a hug. When you fly again, fly for what truly matters. We can never replace together. Fly KLM, Royal Dutch Airlines, from London Heathrow or London City Airport.
How do you make the perfect electric car from scratch? First, take the base ingredients of a Jaguar: power, luxury, agility, and add cutting-edge battery innovation. Then garnish with 78 international awards. The extraordinary all-electric Jaguar I-Pace, built to deliver the most dynamic driving experience, and now positioned to offer the most efficient business benefits. From £495 a month plus VAT on Jaguar Business Contract Hire. Available for immediate delivery. Search Jaguar I-Pace to book an extended test drive now.
Initial rental £4,455 plus VAT at 20%. 48-month term, 8,000 miles per annum. Excess mileage and return conditions apply. Offer ends 30th of June. Selected I-Pace models and participating retailers only. Visit jaguar.co.uk.
Right now at TalkTalk, you get super fast fibre broadband with average speeds of 67 megabits per second. Hang on. You also get free unlimited calls to UK mobiles and landlines. Hold on. There's online security too. And 24/7 online support. All for just £25 a month. Okay, you can play it now. TalkTalk. For everyone. Offer ends 7th of July. Search TalkTalk Fibre. CBI plus 3.7% increase from April 2022, subject to location. £4.95 postage and packing. T's and C's apply.
Everyone can now get free rapid COVID-19 tests twice a week. They show your results within 30 minutes. They also show you're doing what you can to